how it happened.
It was so fun, I was just like,
But everybody
I didn't
was
want to come all the way
calling
down
and
and say, we're like.
no, 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 I understand, no, I didn't, especially when, it's something with the computer.
I don't even know.
Investigation later, but I'm sorry.
Not at all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Mike is gonna be here.
Okay, let's see number one.
Already, yeah, I want more flowers and trees. How are you today? Good, good. Thank you for coming. So, no worries.
Hey, how we doing? Tomorrow. Yeah, I saw the email, we talked about this.
Susie said.
Who?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Greg Hambrick, and I am the first vice chair of the CAB. We can hear Mike Bobbitt. We're going to start the meeting at 6:12. Our chair, Isaac Heschel, is sick. I know there are a couple other people sick, so in his absence, I will attempt to run the meeting and keep the meeting going, so we will do roll call now.
These are all my sandwiches. We just two. Okay, good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Okay, let's start off with Honorable Adrian Adams, Tyrell Hankerson, or Lynette Shelburne Barfield. Honorable Eric Adams, Valerie,
I'm here, Lynette is here.
is that Valerie Vasquez? Or- Oh, okay, for
Lynette.
okay, for Adrian Adams.
Mhm.
Okay, good. All right, gotcha. Okay, for Eric Adams, Valerie Vasquez or Christian Williams?
Christian Williams is here.
Gotcha. Amber Adler. For Honorable Jeffrey on Aubrey Louise Emmanuel. No? Oh, right. Dr. Christopher Wimmer or Shiloh Ross?
Okay.
Melissa Del Valle Ortiz. For Honorable Vanessa Gibson, Nelson Palacios, or Angel Valley? Well, it didn't say to attend, so.
No.
Oh, okay, oh, my bad. Okay, so for Honorable Jeffrey on Auburn, Louise Emmanuel is not here. Oh, okay, oh. Honorable Brian Cunningham. Nicholas Thompson or Tiffany Arguello Carlson for Honorable Vito J. Fasella. For Vanessa Gibson, Nelson Palacios or Angel Val Jr. No, I thought, yes, no, where? If he's checked off, yes. For Honorable Brad Lander, Stephanie Campanha, Wheaton, or Joshua Pacheco. Okay. Honorable Mark Levine, Marielle Ali. Online, okay.
Present.
I'm here. Backfield, present. Paul Mai.
Present.
Honorable Christopher Marte. Gideon Dunkley. Mary Moss. Joseph Pierre. No? Cletus Peña. No? Alex Cuevas or Christine Delius?
Right here, first.
Which one? Alex, okay. Donovan Swanson is here. And Susan, all right, and Susie's out. Okay, Jackie, oh, you gotta wait brighter than that. Okay, oops, I'm sorry. Wait, where did we get Susie? Okay. Jackie Rowe Adams. Lamont Carolina or Tyreek Israel? For, okay, no. Christopher Toomer?
Present, virtual.
Okay, present. Okay. Shane Miller or Sheen Wu? Abby Rubin Pope or Faith Behome?
Here.
Here on Zoom.
Is that Faith? Abby.
Abby.
Okay. Nora Moran or Kate Connolly?
Here.
Samantha Moyle? Linda Walters?
Present.
Okay, sorry. Elizabeth Kennedy, oh, no, she's excused, never mind. And Hannah Zarzar. No, that's it. That's everybody. Okay. We have quorum. Everybody give yourselves a round of applause.
Okay, we have quorum. Good evening, everyone. We don't have a super packed agenda, so I'm gonna move the meeting along. To all that I haven't seen, Happy New Year. Mary Moss and I said we have until tomorrow to say that. After that, if I don't see you till May, it's all good. So hopefully we had a great start to the new year. So everyone should have the agenda in front of them. First is board correspondence, and I'm going to read the board correspondence is the recognition of the election of Linda Walters as representative for Region 19, NDA Staten Island 1. Linda Walters is passionate about helping people and improving her community. She has worked for the City of New York in the Department of Education as a special education, after school, and substitute teacher, and then with the New York City Housing Authority as an assistant manager. In both jobs, she worked as an advocate for students and other people in need of education and services to succeed in life and become self-resilient. Ms. Walters has also represented her community as a volunteer member of the Neighborhood Advisory Board in Staten Island by surveying the service needs for her community, allocating the funding for programs and services, and the reading and rating of proposals submitted by community organizations to provide the services and programs. Always ready to lend a hand, Ms. Walters has volunteered with a local senior center, organizing events, providing information on benefits and other needed services, and working with the food pantry. As a regional representative on the CAB, Ms. Walters will continue to use the opportunity to work with other citywide representatives in the best interests of her community and other low-income communities across the city. So join me in welcoming Linda Walters back, because for all who don't know, she served for many years as a member of the executive committee of the CAB, and she's not only a staunch community leader, but I consider her a friend, so it's good to see her again. Welcome back, Linda. Is there anything you want to say to the CAB?
Well, thank you, for, having me back. And as always, I'm gonna be a voice and a messenger for DYCD and for the community.
Excellent. Great to see your face again. Look forward to seeing you at the meetings. All right, so next on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from our November 21st meeting. So again, you all should have that in front of you and should have received it. First, are there any questions regarding the minutes from our last meeting? Okay, if not, I will now entertain a motion to accept our minutes from our November 21st meeting. I need a motion first. All right, just say your name again. All right, it's been properly motioned. Second by Mary Moss. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those abstaining, those opposing, there being none, so moved. Thank you for that. I'd like to state for the record that Melissa Ortiz had just joined the meeting and she is here. Hey, Melissa. All right, so next, I know Artis is on the Zoom. Artis, good to see you. Happy New Year to you. So I'm gonna ask her to share our financial quarterly report, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Acting Chair. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be here to present the CAB financial report. But before I do, I have exciting news. Joanna Clinton has recently joined my unit as the Director for Grants and Management. She's currently on video. You guys will be seeing her a lot over the next few years. So I'd like you to welcome Joanna and be as nice to her as you have been to me. Okay, so I'm now going to present the financial report for the CSBG team. And the question is, why, oh, here, okay. Can folks see the report on my screen?
Yes, we see it now.
Awesome, thank you. So for the report today, the 30th of January, we have a CSBG budget of $35.8 million, just under $36 million. And I could not hear very well if there were any new board members because I was having a bad reception. Actually, are people hearing me clearly? Because I was not hearing Greg for most of his presentation.
Yes, we hear you clearly, and thanks for letting me know. We
Great.
can adjust the
Awesome.
volume.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So like I said, we have a budget of just under $36 million for CSBG. And the way it's always been laid out, and it continues to be, we spend 80% of our budget on program contracts, and that's on a variety of programs. The biggest bucket is in the NDA development group, which comes in at just under $16 million. That group in itself has about 8 subcategory programs. So there's healthy families, there's seniors, there's high school, there is economic development, safety and crime, and a few others. We have a sizable immigration program compared to a few years ago. We $2.7 million. Our adult literacy portfolio has grown to $2.2 million. Fatherhood is in the same amount it's been previously, 2.7. Adolescent literacy is just under $1 million, and the summer youth employment program is just $4.4 million. That's a total of $28.7 million, and as I said before, it represents 80% of the CSBG budget. The next category of other contractual services comes in at just under $2 million, and these are line items that support the program contracts. We have funding in technical assistance, fiscal agent services, other administrative, other services, fiscal field reviews, and central insurance programs. That represents 6% of the budget. So if you were to add the program contracts and the programs that support those contracts, DYCD is allocating 86% of the CSBG budget to the rec services. Rounding out the budget is DYCD's personal services of 5.1, which is 14%. I'm going to change the format that I've been presenting previously. I'm going to jump first to disbursements. DYCD has disbursed 48% of the CSBG program contracts awarded, meaning providers have received 48% of their budgets. We're only reporting for 5 months of the city fiscal year, so they've received more than what they should have received at this point in time. However, they have only invoiced us 21% of the budget. So we have given them an advance of at least 30% for every contract. And the difference between payments is that the providers have been slowly invoicing us. So they have cash in hand to start up and do the work we've asked them to do. They are slowly submitting invoices for reimbursement. But as soon as they submit invoices for reimbursement, DYCD tries as much as possible to get that out the door as soon as possible. So we have awarded more money for the 5 months of the city fiscal year than they should have received because of the advances, but they have only invoiced us 21% of their budget. For other contractual services, what we invoice and what we disperse are usually the same because there's no advances in this category. So we have a budget of just under $2 million, and we have a spending rate of about 17%. The DYCD personal services, we have a budget of $5.1 million, and we have claimed 21% of that budget. DYCD does our cost allocation on a quarterly basis. So the amount we have claimed so far is for July through September. I also want to make a point of talking about the fact that these CSBG programs, the providers in these programs do not only receive CSBG funds for their programs, they receive other funding as part of their contracts. The CSBG amount is just a portion of that. Overall, for example, if we look at the adult literacy program, we have contracts to date of just under $12 million, and DYCD has awarded those contracts just over $3.5 million. And that again, it includes advances and invoice submissions. The immigration program as well, we have just over $3.8 million, and we've advanced 30% of that at least to the provider. So I want to make a point of saying that even though this is a CSBG report for this group, more than nearly all of our contracts receive not just CSBG dollars in their contracts, they receive other funding sources, mainly city tax levy, but there's also some CDBG funding in there. So what we're seeing here is not the only payments DYCD has made to this group. When we last met, there was a request made for a list of contracts and advances that were made to the CBOs and the dates of those advances. We are still in the process of putting all that information together. But it changes every day. But the last time we looked at this, and I'm going to see if I can find this report, and then bear with me, please, and I'll just what do I want to do? I'm sorry. I wanted to get a sense of. Yeah, these numbers are very raw to share with at the moment, but for the most part, DYCD made its disbursements for the NDA program. Let's see, maybe the NDA program is not a group. I think that column is hidden. Okay, let's look at the literacy program. The dates of the advances is what I'm looking for. Jemima, is that hidden?
You're still sharing the CSBG general report.
I see. Okay, all right. But I'm in the sheet that I'm looking at for immigration and fatherhood, and for the immigration and fatherhood program, we have about $6 million. And of that, we have awarded or disbursed, I should say, $2.2 million, which is just under 40%. But for the CSBG portion of it, as you can see here, these are just the CSBG dollars. They have received 50% of the award. I am also going to talk about the request that the board members made for the adult literacy portfolio. The DYCD and the City of New York just recently completed the JAN plan. We are still finalizing the numbers we have from OMB, and before we make it public, we want to make sure that we shore up our numbers. So we will shortly be sending that out to the board so they can have that information. My apologies that it's not ready tonight, but the JAN plan was only just recently finalized. So I'm now going to move on to where we are today compared to the last board meeting. As of today, compared to the last board meeting, we have increased our disbursements or payments to the CBOs by 58%. The last time we met, we had paid just under $8.7 million. As of today, we have paid $13.7 million. For invoices submitted to us by the CBOs, that has only increased by 30%. And the bulk of these invoices here, as you can see, is from the CSBG, I'm sorry, the SYP program. So we have a very low or slow invoice submission from our CBOs. And that's what's pulling down our numbers at this point. And that concludes my presentation. As always, I'm here to answer any questions that folks have. And if I can figure out how to stop sharing, that would also be great.
I'm sure you will. Thank you, Artis. Entertain any questions anyone has. She has a mic there for you. Just say your name, please.
Hi, I'm Kate from United Neighborhood Houses. My question, and I'm not sure if it's for this portion, is about applying the 3% COLA to NDA contracts. We've heard from some of our providers that they've been trying to do that. They haven't really heard much instructions about it. We want to make sure that the COLA applies to NDA contracts and who the best point person is to get support on that.
Okay, thank you for that question. I'm not in a position to answer that question at this point in time, but I will take your question and I will bring it back to our team and get an answer for you. So the question is whether all NDA providers are receiving the 3% COLA, is that the question?
It's making sure that it's to make sure that the COLA applies to the NDA contracts. We assumed that it did, but some of our members that have tried to get the COLA applied to their contracts have not received follow-up.
Okay, I will pass that along. And my apologies for not being able to answer that question this evening.
No worries. If anyone is able to give just an email contact of who they can reach out to, that'd be really helpful. And I can
Okay,
follow up after this meeting.
I'll let them know that as well.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Roger. I have a question about the president's withholding of federal funds, and I wanted to know how this was going to impact our funding for the city, specific to CAB.
We have not received any information from the New York State Department of State as yet on this.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Yeah. Hi, Artis. I know you can't see me.
okay.
I'll take this. Yeah, I can take this one. I'm sorry. I'm Sarah Marks. I'm the Senior Director for Intergovernmental Affairs here. It was a very eventful week in terms of federal announcements. So on Monday, there was a presidential directive to pause all of federal, I think they called it financial assistance loans. Then by Tuesday night, that had been stopped by a court order. And then by Wednesday, it had been withdrawn altogether. So where that stands right now is that it is not in effect. It's something that we're watching really closely, that we're working in coordination with the city's Office of Management and Budget and with the city's Office of Federal Legislative Affairs, our DC office, to keep posted. So right now that most recent bit is not in effect, but we certainly are going to be monitoring all of the federal actions for how they could affect funding sources. And certainly that was kind of just it's just been the first week. So we'll keep watching it as it develops.
Hello, I'm Maureen Moss from Region 9. That is a relief, thank you. And I'm also relieved to hear that 30% of the funds and that all of our providers have cash on hand. But my question is, and I think we went over this in the last meeting, if there could be a breakdown by region of the funds and the programs that have received the funds, that would be gratefully helpful.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing. I'm not sure if there's a question being asked.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can't hear her.
Can you hear me better if I move the mic?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, okay, it's the reverberation. Okay. I said it's a relief to know that, that our providers have cash on hand. And also the last announcement was also a relief. But what I wanted to ask as for region, as the region director of mine, I would like to know if the budget can be, broken down by region and the providers in those regions. So if that can be done somehow, so we can have that information, that would be great.
And when you say region, you're talking about the NDAs?
Yes. Exactly.
And the report that you're referring to is the report that says, these are the providers, this is the advances they received, and these are the dates they received it? Or not just advances, but total disbursement?
Yes, total disbursements, period.
Total disbursement, okay.
Yes. That would be very helpful, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So we have a couple that we're gonna give back to the team. Thank you as always for that, artist. Whatever is the best way for you to share that information, if it's via the whole group or with a leader, just let us know. And we'll be happy to support you.
Sorry, I didn't hear that very well, but am I to understand, Greg, that you're asking folks to accept the minutes and our presentation is over? Is that, sorry, it
So
was
let
very.
me, is this better? I know these mics.
Much,
is a little
much,
tricky.
much better.
All right,
Yeah.
so maybe not too close to the
Very
mouth.
helpful.
No, I was saying, thank you, number one. Number two, we have those couple of questions. So whatever you think is the best way to get the answers to the team, to the board, just let us know. It might be best to share it to the entire board so that everyone knows. But if you need my help in terms of, sharing that information, let me know.
Okay, and would you like that information before the next board meeting, or would you like to have it by the next board meeting?
Preferably, if we can get this before the next board meeting, because I anticipate when you have your other quarterly financial report, there may be some additional questions, so just don't want to pile it on.
I'm sorry, I can share it, but again, I can barely hear you.
Yeah, if you could move the mic away from your mouth a little bit.
Is this better? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Before the next meeting.
okay,
Yeah,
Okay,
if
we
you
will-
can share
we will work
before
on
the
that.
next meeting.
we will work on that.
Okay, perfect. Any other
Thank
questions?
you all.
All right, I'll entertain a motion now to accept the quarterly financial report.
Thank you all, John.
Thank you, artists.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been properly motioned by Mari Moss, seconded by Grace. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstaining? There being none. I feel like this is like auto-tune right now in these microphones.
Thank you.
I can do like a whole album right now. Okay, next up, I'm gonna ask our good friend Mike Bobbitt to come and give us our deputy commissioner report.
Is it working? Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Everyone online?
Just hold it away a little bit.
Okay.
I think the closest to your mouth, the more muffled it sounds.
Thank you, I'm sharing. Good evening. A few things, I won't keep you too long. The Eddie B. Borough managers are scheduling their quarterly meetings with the neighborhood advisory boards. They're also attending the mayor's town halls, the strategic partnership unit's phase 2 meetings with the crisis management systems and the community-based organizations, and attending community board meetings, both full board and committees. NABLU, community development, strategic partnerships, and the DUSC borough managers have been attending the Safe Growth, or SEPTED, which again is crime prevention through environmental design workshops in NDAs Bronx 7, 8, and 12, which includes Fordham, Norwood, Bedford Park, Kingsbridge, Queens 14, which includes Far Rockaway, and Manhattan 9, 10, and 11, which includes Morningside Heights, Manhattanville, Hamilton Heights, Central Harlem, Polo Grounds, and East Harlem. things are going very well. The Bronx group met in early January with 20 attendees. This included representatives from the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, Department of Buildings, Mayor's Office of Public Safety, as well as Community Boards 7 and 12, and the Bronx DA's office. The Far Rockaway meeting was also in early January with over 30 attendees, including representatives from Sanitation, NYCHA, the Police Department, and Department of Transportation. So we look forward in future meetings to let you know more about what's happening, what's unfolding, but things are going very well. The Harlem cohort will meet January 29 to 31. I'll ask CAB members and NAB members to please check DYC's social media. CONUS has just launched a 4-part series of short videos highlighting community development. And we're all very excited about the increased exposure and the reaction we're getting so far already. Connect All, I think I reported on this a few months ago. DYC is implementing a project aimed at enhancing digital literacy and inclusion across high-needs neighborhoods in New York City. By utilizing our strong relationship with our provider network, DYC will contract with one vendor to convene both our City Council discretionary funded digital literacy and inclusion providers and our CSBG funded adolescent literacy providers to conduct an assessment of wireless coverage and broadband access among participants in those programs to identify existing gaps. Fatherhood and the Runaway Homeless Youth programs had expansions which were announced recently as part of the State of the City from Mayor Adams. Raise your hand if you heard about those announcements, or a few folks have. Mayor Adams announced in particular that the DYC Fatherhood Initiative will receive additional city tax levy funding to eventually double the number of dads we will serve. So DYC anticipates receiving another $2 million in city tax levy funding in FY26. Our RFP will be released any day now to reflect what I consider to be really great news. I joke with my team that was only 15 years in the making. So I'm thankful that this administration, this mayor, this commissioner made it happen. On February 28th, the Children's Cabinet for the Mayor's Office is launching the first ever citywide conference on fatherhood. And so as we've reported in prior years, past 3 years, we held a convening in June called Affirming Fatherhood. So we are collaborating with the Mayor's Office and the Children's Cabinet for this February 28th event. So our team will send out information. We're exploring the technology. Can you hear me, or are you going to miss out? Thank you. It was this, it wasn't like this. We're exploring what technology at John Jay will allow. So if we can live stream it, now we will send out an invitation letting live streaming is available. If not, it'll be archived so people will be able to view the proceedings later on. Very exciting though, from confirmed participants so far, Richard Bury, Robert Hood Foundation, Grace Bonilla, United Way will be speaking. Our commissioner will be there. We anticipate some other commissioners. The deputy mayor for strategic initiatives, of course, will be there. Might even have the mayor there. So we're excited about that. And fatherhood, as we said, is on the move. I want to thank this body. The Immigrant Services Concept Paper feedback formally closed earlier this month, but I know some of you made extra special efforts to make sure that we received as much feedback as possible. So I want to acknowledge you for that. I also want to let you know this is not a CSBG thing. This is certainly part of my division. The New York City Council discretionary application is open through February 19th. And my division and NABLU and Intergov alike have been promoting maximally. This is a great funding opportunity for fledgling organizations. So I'm spreading the word there. I also wanted this group to know this week is a bit melancholy in a way because it's the last week for Manny Rosa. Manny Rosa, who I believe has presented to this group several times. He was right with us when we celebrated the 60th anniversary since the launch of the War of Poverty. He is again the Director of Community Service for the New York State Department of State. And it's great to be able to refer to Manny as a colleague and a friend rather than just an oversight. The good news there, though, is Department of State did a little poaching. And Jackie Orr, who is formerly the Executive Director for the New York State Community Action Association, and those of you who've been in the network have actually been to some of those poverty symposiums, she's leaving NISCA and she's taking Manny's job. So we're wonderfully happy that somebody who really understands what we do in New York City is going to be our oversight. So going forward, Jackie will be at DOS. I and some other leaders of community action will be trying to help find the next director for NISCA. But in the meanwhile, their interim director is a very experienced CEO. He used to run one of the organizations, and he had a leadership role in NISCA before. So NISCA's on stable footing. Our oversight seems to be on stable footing, so we're really excited about that. And last but not least, and I couldn't get him to be here, tomorrow is Ron Zhang's last day with DYCD. So I asked him if he's able to log on to listen in, but any way you slice it, there's been an outpouring, a gushing of emotion. We had a wonderful farewell for him last week. 29 years of service to DYCD. So let's clap it up again. He will be missed, but he spent a lot of time coaching and developing his staff. So it's next man up, next woman up. And in future presentations, you'll be hearing again from me, but also from Ebony Jordan Wilson, who's presented to this group before, as well as Valentin Lopez, who not only already oversees all of discretionary, but is going to be getting more involved in our CSBG work as well. And so that concludes the commissioner's report.
Thank you, Mr. Bobbitt.
Any questions?
Any questions on the commissioner's report?
Thank you again.
And please extend on behalf of the board, our congratulations to Ron and the best in his retirement. All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the commissioner's report. Motion to accept has been done by Donovan Swanson. Seconded by Maya Moss. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, those abstaining, there being none, so moved. Thank you for that. So next on the agenda, the executive committee met on January 16th. The summary of the topics of that meeting is in your packet at a high level. As an executive committee, we just discussed ways to just continue to make the meetings engaging. There were some ideas of how we can entertain questions that are often, this is an engaging board and we don't like to cut off people's questions or not have members have the opportunity to ask questions and get answers. So there were a few suggestions made that we're going to entertain, including sending questions in advance when you receive your packet, whether it's on the financial report or the commissioner's report, so at least we can be prepared to answer those questions. Donovan shared some insight on some technology that may be helpful in taking notes and being able to be more engaged, so that was talked about as well. And then, of course, the other two high-level things, one which our Mike Bobbitt mentioned, Ron Zhang retiring, and the other, Rhonda Joseph, who is our parliamentarian, has resigned to focus on other responsibilities. So that position will be open, and the slate is now open for anyone who wants to put their name forth for that. With that said, all the committees met. The governance committee met on the 15th. We discussed the vacancies in the low income sector and in the public sector. The details again is in your packet. We all know that Assembly Member Jeffrey Aubrey has retired as of January 25th. We also discussed the election of the CAB rep for Staten Island, and that being Linda Rogers, who's here with us. Also, the officer election for the parliamentarian role, which is open now. 6 members were excused from our last meeting. There was no old business, there wasn't any new business, and the meeting was adjourned at 6:15. Any questions on the governance committee meeting? Help me out. Are we putting forth those names for the parliamentarian now, or is that for the next meeting?
No, we're accepting nominations. So if you want to nominate somebody, if you want to nominate yourself, just give us a call or send us an email to the staff.
For the parliamentarian. So if you are interested or want to nominate someone, please send it to Anita and a member of the governance committee, and we will put that name on the slate. Any other questions regarding the governance committee meeting? If not, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the governance committee meeting. Okay, it's been properly motioned by Josh Pacheco,
Second.
seconded by Linda Walters. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, those abstaining, there being none. So next up, I'm gonna ask that Donovan Swanson, who is our newly elected chair of our program committee, go over the meeting agenda.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm gonna keep it brief. Folks have the printout. A lot was discussed. We covered senior services, both from a provider that offers his services in Manhattan, Grand Street Settlement. Folks are familiar with their work, as well as a provider in the Bronx neighborhood shop. They all kind of talked about a number of services that they provide, ranging from fun activities, taking seniors out in their community for a number of different things, healthcare, counseling, some digital literacy, some domestic violence work, talking about heating season and things of that nature. And again, just generally the work needed for that population. We had some spirited conversations around other services that both the city and the state provides, understanding that this is a vulnerable population, right? So making sure elder abuse, again, going back to the financial component as well, that services like that are also offered, and both providers to their own different degree. We also talked about the intersectionality, about those services needing to be provided in another language other than English, right? Specifically, the Bronx provider talked about the majority of their population that they serve being Spanish speaking, in which I asked, and so I'm just going to put it out there, I did ask about competitive rates for things like that, because we do also understand the need to then hire that staff, right? So they do have staff that speak those host languages, and so they are lucky, but that is something that we should keep on our radar. How can we continue to incentivize the industry and folks in the community to step into these roles, right? And so, yeah, it was a great meeting, and we concluded at 6:35 p.m. So that's all I got. I'm gonna keep it cute and brief. Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you, Donovan. Any questions on the program committee report? Donovan keeps it moving. All right, I entertain a motion to accept the program committee report. Motion to accept by Donovan Swanson, seconded by Grace. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstaining, there being none, so moved. Next is our strategic partnerships report. I know Susie's on the line. Is she giving the report or? Oh, got you. Okay, sickness is going around. All right, so in her absence, Anita will deliver the report.
Can I just say something, sorry?
Sure.
My accessory is supposed to come 30 minutes from now, they're already here. And I'm afraid that if I don't go.
No, take care of that. Welcome back, Linda. We'll be in touch. Safe travels home.
Yes,
Okay, the Strategic Partnerships Committee met on Thursday, January 9th. And they had a presentation of DYCD's Runaway and Homeless Youth Program. Gian Peralta, some of you may remember, he used to work with us in the Neighborhood Advisory Board unit. He's the senior program manager for vulnerable and special needs youth. So he reported on a few activities of the program. They have a street outreach program that has vans traveling through the 5 boroughs and serving 2 zones. The northern zone is above 59th Street, Bronx and Queens, and the southern zone is below 59th Street, Brooklyn and Staten Island. The street outreach services are geared to targeting public spaces, parks, transportation hubs, and staff distribute information, provide resources, and materials, and etc. And then RHY has drop-in centers, 1 in each borough. I believe there's 2 in Queens. In Manhattan, Manhattan has 3. So there's 1 in Brooklyn, 2 in Queens, 1 in Staten Island, 1 in the Bronx, and Manhattan has 3. And they're open 24 hours, 7 days a week. And they have several programs in there. There's a crisis services program, offers emergency shelter and support for runaway and young people experiencing homelessness. And they have beds, they can take a shower, they have food, and they can stay there from 60 to 120 days until they find suitable housing. And they're given services as well. And they also have, they separate the youth 16 to 20 years old are one group, and then 21 to 24 are in another group, and they're treated separately. They have a transitional independent living services, and there you can stay up to 24 months, and it's also separate. And it's a little more detailed in the minutes, so you can look at your minutes. What is even better is if you come to these president meetings and listen to these presentations and can ask questions and all of that. The NAB membership report, out of 492 NAB seats, a total of 250 seats are currently filled, which is about 51%, leaving a total of 242 seats vacant. There are 187 DYCD direct appointment seats, and then there are 63 elected official recommended seats filled. So the vacancy for DYCD seats is 59 seats, and for elected officials is 183 seats. So we had a very big discussion about how
We
to
committed
get,
to a separate
I
meeting.
remember, the elected officials to participate, and we are working on it as a committee. And we invite any members who want to give their 2 cents or even their time to help us figure out ways to get our officials to understand what their role is in this program. So some whole business staff are working to get a chat up for the members that can talk in between the meetings about this problem with getting members for the NAB, or it could be anything else. You can even, be able to post your questions, and so we can have them before the meeting starts and get them answered right away. So we're working on that. We're trying to get permission from the communications, DYCD communications to do that. So there's no funny business going on in there. And that was it. The meeting was adjourned at 5:55 p.m.
Thank you, Anita. Any questions regarding the Strategic Partnerships Committee report? There's one question over here, Melissa.
Sorry, the advisor. I always forget it on the advisor Ortiz, who depends how I feel today. But, so, my thing, please put me on that list, to participate, because that's definitely one of the big issues that I've always had, is that we never have enough participation. The other thing is, we're even low in count here today. I really don't think that enough people understand what it is that we do, how we serve. I want to encourage each one of you. These are public meetings, to share this information, number one. Number two, bring somebody from your community to this meeting. I think that if they had a better understanding how these meetings work, what these meetings are about, how it trickles down directly into the NDA that we represent, I think that that would be something that would be really helpful. Even our NDA meetings need to be announced at the community board meeting. So if anybody can attend those meetings, if the NDA representative is not, for the individual NDA is not making those announcements, then maybe it'll help at the community board level if we make these announcements and let them know these are public meetings and that it's all about bringing monies and services to our communities. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
No many, no many.
Any other questions?
Looks like Mariella has her hand raised.
Yes, I have a question, please.
Sorry.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Anita, for the report, and Susie, I hope you feel better. Yes, just kind of echoing on the other members' point. I mean, right now, as you know, a lot of the borough presidents have their applications open for community boards. And I know that that's also an opportunity for them to identify members of the community that want to serve in other capacities. So maybe not just the community board, but maybe something like the NAB and so on. And so I guess just a point for those of us who are appointed by respective borough presidents to engage with those teams and encourage those appointments. Thanks.
Thank you, Mariella.
Just to echo that sentiment, and I know you guys are doing a lot of community engagement, and that's why we need to have a separate meeting just about some other strategies we can pull, but at minimum, you know, and this is outside of my purview under Brooklyn Borough Hall, but if there's been a presentation at borough boards, that's a good opportunity to get district managers and presidents so that they're aware. And then also, as I'm thinking, there are committees under some of the community boards where maybe they can run concurrently with an NAB meeting as a suggestion too. Especially if you have an NAB where there might be a little inactivity, where they might suffer from low attendance. If they were to kind of coordinate and have the committee meeting at the same time as the NAB meeting, it might yield some good results. So just throwing that out there. But I think starting at borough board presentations, because at least for our office, I know you could go directly to our community boards person, and I could get you guys on the agenda. So just put that out there.
I know that Reggie, who's in the other room right now, he's been to Borough. I don't know if you've been to Borough.
No, but I'm working on getting in casually with the district managers to present for each borough. So at least all the items in one place, talk to everybody, try to get it out there.
Got it. I think we got a couple more questions. If we could just get them the mic.
I just wanted to give some kudos to Anita because we had a meeting with Diana Ayala's office, Speaker of the, Deputy Speaker of the City Council, and Senator Serrano's office, and she really did an excellent presentation, making sure that they understood, you know, what the responsibilities and roles are of the Neighborhood Advisory Board. And I think that they appointed some people, and also they attended our big mass meeting that we had in Central Harlem, Senator Serrano's office did. And we had almost every like organization in our community that needs federal funding or receives federal funding there. So that helped get more information out to the elected officials on that. Plus, we just elected last night a member of Manhattan Community Board 10 as chair of the Neighborhood Advisory Board in Central Harlem. So, and her first order of business was to bring back the meet and greet collaboration with the community board. So when you see that cross-pollination, it's amazing. We did it back in 2015 and there were hundreds of parents there. There were like hundreds of organizations, CBOs there. And so I'd love to see that come back, especially in communities of color like Harlem. Thank you.
Hi, Amber Adler. I'm former NAB 15 chair for many years. I definitely remember how hard it was to try to get the political officials to appoint someone. Our biggest problem with them was always trying to find someone with the right address. Sometimes they would find someone that wouldn't be the right address. And what I've always wondered, and I guess I wasn't, maybe it's just for one board, it wasn't making so much sense, but on a citywide level, if there could be like an incentivized college outreach to people who are in need of like internship credits or something like this, that there would be issue from the school where DYCD is not giving. But I know you mentioned with the fatherhood initiative, you're already tied into John Jay. People from that college are all over the city. You know, so if you had maybe a few of these where you already have inroads, maybe that would be something. So I'm just throwing that out there. Or anyone else that hears this that knows another college that they're tied to. And students always want internships. They always want to learn how to do something. And everyone coming in from college, they need some kind of entry level position or something to make them stand out. This might be a ticket for that.
Melissa again. Just one more thing, which is what I was gonna say, was our seats are for ages 16 and up. So we have high school students as well as college is great. So it's 16 and up. And I don't think we're doing enough with that outreach into the high schools,
calendars for that. And let's stay diligent. We know what we're up against, so let's stay diligent as a group to support the communities we serve. And my thoughts and prayers are with those in Washington, that terrible aviation accident and loss of life, very tough. My good friend who worked for Bloomberg for like 20 plus years, just took an assignment in Virginia. Supposed to fly out of that airport today. So you can imagine how, they're only taking the train, obviously, they halted the planes until like 11 or 12, I think. But she's gonna be going back and forth, so she's now nervous about flying back, which I would imagine any traveler would be. My thoughts and prayers are with the family. Until next meeting, I'll entertain a motion now to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, seconded by Grace. It was motioned by Donovan, by the way. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion moved. All right, take care, everyone. Stay safe.